All right, I guess it's working. So that's SIG Release Meeting, Monday, February 19th. Let me just show some agenda. Seen already there are some points there. All right, is this visible?
Yep.
All right, cool. Yeah, so first point, I see Fiacra you've audit, so maybe share what you have regarding this.
Yeah, if that's okay. Yeah, would it be okay to share or okay to share
Yeah,
on my
yeah,
screen?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I probably have to. Uh, uh,
Do I
Let
have
me see.
share? Oh, it looks like I can. Must be share desktop 3.
Okay, it worked. Cool.
Is that's visible? Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So yeah. So what I was. So I guess I was playing around. Can I hide this somehow? I wonder.
Yeah, you can. You actually can. It's pretty well hidden. When you have
Yeah.
this three dots menu,
Hide menu.
there is
Oh, hide.
there is. I only see it when I share, but
Hide names, annotations, disable, chat, meeting upload. Oh, silly.
I think I see your screen, Fiacna.
Can you see my screen? And how do I get this
yeah,
to
we don't. We don't see this. We don't see this menu, and it's
you?
extremely annoying.
You don't see the
Uh,
menu. How do you hide it? It should drop down, shouldn't it?
there is
It's
on a free
There is.
yeah on a three dot menu on the
yeah.
right hand side. There is a position to hide it. I just don't remember the name.
I have disabled annotations for others, hide names of annotations, hide video panel. Wait, no.
That,
Disable annotations. No. Anyway, no problem. Okay, sure. I'll see. I'll if I have to move the browser window, I will. Anyway, so what I was trying to do was to set up some kind of end-to-end, just a POC, just to see if I could set up an end-to-end on the Netflix controllers, using GitHub Actions. So that was kind of the main kind of focus of the talk. But yeah, so I forked the Nephew code. I added a GitHub action workflow here. No, that's not it. Um, it's still up in a PR actually. Sorry. Um, that has quite a lot of changes in it. Um, I'll go through that in a second. But also, what I did, I borrowed this example here. So it's using auto scaling on using the GitHub runners. So I'll just give you a bit of context on that first, maybe. So I have a trigger here set up that listens for a webhook event. This isn't really relevant. I think this would be something nice that we could set up in GCP if possible, rather. But essentially just listens for a webhook event. Doesn't, you can give it a specific repo, but for this one it'll just listen on all. And we can extract information from the payload event from the webhook event to pump into the actual job, if you like, or the deployment. Um, Here I'll just show you actually. So it's using Cloud Init to set up the actual VM, the VM. So what are we doing? Just yes, setting up kind of users and groups, installing so we can set up Docker. It has this shutdown service, pre-start, terminate, etc. Um, and then we essentially just deploy the actual image. So this is GCP cloud in this or computed instance create. And so it's using kind of Ubuntu 2004 image.
So Fiacra,
Um,
you're running the runner on Google, right? Is that what?
yeah, it's a GCP runner. Yeah, so as you can see here, there's nothing there at the moment.
Yeah.
And I should have no runners here registered. So I tried running on the GitHub hosted runners, but it's too big. So I think I'm not sure what size the default ones are, but they're too small.
Yeah.
So the image size I'm using there is, where is it? So E2E standard 8. I think this is 8 CPU, 16 gig memory.
By the way, sorry to cut in. How's the Google Cloud CLI authenticated? In a GitHub action, there is a like specific step.
Yeah, so the token
To do
itself
it.
I used, I think I had to, so this is my own personal one, but uh, oh yes, so there's a GitHub token here that it generates. So the URL preview, I did add a token. There was a couple of steps to set this up, all right.
Okay.
There's a few bits here, so you have to set up, webhook URL. What do we need? A secret in secret manager, the GitHub token, secret for the webhook. We have to set up, service accounts for access to some of the GCP resources as well.
Right. Right.
Normally
And
you
then
create a user, I guess, right? You create a user that is the
yeah,
or
that's
something like that.
yeah, service account user, and so this is my first time playing around with this, to be honest with you. But yeah, essentially, and then once you're done, I had a command there to, yeah, so we're just essentially, this is your service account that you're going to use, and this is setting up the actual trigger. Um,
Yeah.
or you can do it manually, or you can create this trigger manually. But essentially, so that the cloud YAML, where was I? So sorry, I'll just kick it off, right? So we have no runners at the moment. Say if I can edit the. So I've run it a couple of times here now. Everything seems to be fine, but you can see it's up around 25 minutes at the moment already. We'll edit the workflow file just to commit the changes. And it then obviously sends a webhook on PR. So I think the file itself. So on push or on pull request, it should trigger.
Right.
So you can see there it's running.
You can also trigger this manually without PR.
Yeah, you can. Yeah,
the
sorry,
button.
I should just rebuild actually. Sorry, yeah, but so you can see there it's deploying the VM itself, setting up some of the or just setting up the, yeah, as I said, the VM. There's no instances there, so I won't wait for the full thing to finish. I'll just show you, in terms of this
The nice thing if you have compute, you could set up your own runners, right? So which always
yeah,
run.
I
Yeah.
think this would be nice to have. I know look at Pro is there and we've been using it, but this seems pretty cool. And obviously they're ephemeral as well, so
Yeah.
it's designed not to waste resources and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's spinning up the VM there, like, and I was obviously we were talking offline as well in terms of having a pre-baked image. It caches online as well, so we could have an image that doesn't have to install, because I think the install takes about, on this it takes anything between 8 to 10 minutes to install a sandbox.
Yeah, that's why I was advocating from the beginning is that we should bake with our tools an image that
Yeah,
is always up
yeah,
to
yeah.
date with the release, right? We can
That's
change it.
you could do a nightly, or you could do
Yeah,
whatever, using Packer.
yeah, correct. Yeah.
It's taking a bit longer than usual.
One thing though, which is also a problem in our current infrastructure for end-to-end running. We have to think about shipping those logs somewhere external, because if something fails,
Yeah.
Instance gets deleted, and
Yeah.
basically we don't have any.
Yeah, so I can show you.
There.
Yeah, I set up a GitHub action for the anyways, just very quickly, I'll come back to that in a sec. Yeah, but so they have a runners registered now, so hopefully the action should have kicked off. I won't sit and wait and watch, do you know what I mean, in terms of what it's doing, but I can run through so there it's just kicked off the sandbox install. But the steps themselves, can I view the I can view the workload file. Hang on a second. Workload file in, sorry. Yeah, so
So
I'm just check out main and I'm checking out. So I customized a version of the test info as well, just to reduce some of the, I'm not loading the web UI, I'm not loading
yeah,
the kernel and stuff like that. It's just, call and install, building the latest image here, loading it in with kind, and then I'm just calling the 001 script, which deploys the
the infra.
regional cluster. So it's only deploying one cluster. That only really covers, it doesn't, what does it cover in the actual code base? It probably only covers uh in terms of the reconcilers themselves, it doesn't cover the networking, right? Would it be correct in saying that, Fim?
Yeah.
It tests these, rebook token, approval, bootstrap, secrets, config, I'm not too sure.
What are you, so
So
what is
I'm
the
just I'm
goal
just
that you're trying to do, Fiacra, is basically to have,
just to have coverage in terms of what the end to end does, So I was thinking in theory you could have maybe a subset of
yeah, yeah,
the, or just maybe custom scripts, you know what I mean, within they could live here even, that deploy maybe two workload clusters and set up the networking between them.
or for specific, so you would advocate trying to build different environments that all have a different purpose. Is that fair?
In theory, but like, well, so in terms of the testing for like, what does it do? It does, where are the tests? So, so this one sets up the regional cluster, right? So this deploys a regional cluster.
Yeah,
002 deploys the two edge clusters, right?
yeah.
And then I think this script sets up the networking, does it? Or is that part of
Correct. Three is networking.
that
Yeah.
part of two? So would that in theory cover most of these? I'm primarily focused on doing an end-to-end test on the reconcilers within the Nephew controllers.
See, the
Or the-
Nephew controllers, I don't think you need the network necessarily. I mean, okay, so
yeah, well, I just
it-
in terms of trying to hit as much as possible within the Nephew operator, with
so the
some with
Nephew
some
operator, because for example, the IPAM specializer and the generic specializer are only
mm,
used to do specialization, right? So
okay,
the network controller, yeah, that's the one for the network, but the rest is kind of all management cluster
yeah.
focused.
Yeah, I could, like, in terms of like, well, the objective really would be just to, to hit as much of this as possible,
Mhm.
with some form of end to end. Doesn't have to be bash, it can be whatever, well, but I was just reusing what's there for now just to see how it goes, But it seems to run okay. So as I said, it's up around 25 minutes. So I think it takes, so it's about 8 minutes to deploy the sandbox. Building the image is about 2 minutes, and then, this could be reduced. There's lots of assertions here on the actual deploying the regional cluster. Um, uh, but yeah, like I was hoping, so somebody pushes a PR, it triggers an action, and hopefully you would get a result maybe in 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. You know,
Yeah, to
um,
speed up the execution time to do some validation, right?
Yeah, and like if we had a pre-baked image, we could cut this, pretty much.
Yeah.
You might have to customize the image slightly, to suit your use case or whatever. But that was kind of where I was going. You asked the
Might
question.
have to, for this, we might, if you really want to have the full benefit, we might have to add some additional test scripts that are focused on specific things, because right now
Yeah,
we are not even testing a lot of stuff with it. We are testing the happy path
happy flow.
scenario.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's the, in terms of what these are doing. Like I was just, reusing what this is obviously specific to well, it's not specific to the FreeFlow use case, but to hit as much as we could on the actual the Nephew code base, if you like. Sorry, I'm switching around.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you could customize the tests to fit that. But say you asked the question, Rado. Sorry, I got distracted. So I'd like in comparison I've done here, and this is borrowing heavily from what kept Porch did already. So they had or they have an existing Porch end-to-end workflow or GitHub action, in the
Hmm.
project. So I pushed this as a PR. I guess I'll have to have John to approve it. But so essentially this is doing very similar. So it's setting up Go, a few other bits and pieces. Um, installing kubectl, kept creating a coin cluster, building the images, and within that, I modified this as well to deploy the Porch kept package and a kind of custom Git server that they have in the project as a Docker image. And then it just runs the end to end. And sorry, that was your question. So yeah, in terms of exporting the logs, so this one here is essentially just, so it spits the logs out for the port server and then uploads them as an artifact on the actual run.
On a run
So
for the action. Okay.
yeah.
Oh.
I don't know how much you can get. I don't know if there's a limit. I only played around with this action for a little bit, but this, so you can attach your run artifacts here.
I mean, we can set up Elasticsearch instance
Yeah,
and push it there. Don't
I'm
have to
sure.
keep it on GitHub if that's limiting factor. So
Yeah, but I'm sure GCP has some functionality there that once the run is done, you can
yeah,
export them and store them there or whatever.
yeah.
But
Yeah, or
yeah,
is there a way to alter the ephemeral nature of the VM if the tests fail? So just to leave
it's a
it
good, it's a good question. Yeah,
leave it alive, so you can
I
just log in and investigate.
but I'm not sure to be honest. Obviously you've plenty of time on this one. To SSH to the VM because it runs for 25 minutes. But yeah, I know what you're saying that you'd want it to hang around for a while after failure. Um, I only played around with this a little bit, but where is the ephemeral or it has he is preemptible here. So this one, I think this one means if it hangs around after 10 minutes, Google will delete it. But I think where is the ephemeral flag? I think it's here somewhere.
Yeah, or maybe the job
Right,
could be
this,
split
right, this.
in two. So one would create the
Yeah,
VM and the other one would just clean them up every 2 hours or whatever if they are hanging there.
yeah,
If
yeah.
not,
Or
then
yeah,
that's okay.
or you can split in terms of the workflow, you can split this into
Yeah,
individual steps or jobs. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You know, with a dependency between each, um, and tell Google to keep it alive for a while for debugging.
yeah,
Yeah. Um,
yeah, yeah.
but I think I don't know Prow much at all. A few of the guys, cashier on the call, we've looked at it in terms of our own kind of playground, if you like, in EST, but I don't really know Prow very well, and like the documentation is terrible. Um, from my perspective. And this seems kind of pretty straightforward. I know this would be all locked down to very few people, but in terms of the GitHub actions, I think that's you can build them fairly quickly and easily. And there's lots of documentation and lots of examples to work off. Um,
Yeah, they're much friendlier.
yeah,
Uh, and yeah, we don't really need a more uh, you know more load uh, to add to ourselves
I don't think
when it
so.
comes.
Yeah, it's
You know,
I think yeah, for me anyway. Like even I had a look at some of the end, the kind of K8 testing stuff. If we really, I think Pro was designed to test Kubernetes, right? It's from the get-go, from what I can see. Well, it's a Kubernetes project, but I think outside of the magic word stuff we have on GitHub for PRs, that doesn't really offer a whole lot. I don't know, or does it? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Um, Yeah, that's what I had anyway. As I said, I pushed this one up for Porch, which I'm hoping gets accepted because it's just, it starts. Well, yeah, with the end-to-end tests weren't running on Porch as it is, so
That's very cool. I
but
like it a lot.
yeah, but
For
in terms of this one, this would need work, and possibly to have a pre-baked image to deploy the sandbox, and obviously then to customize, whatever set of scripts to test the. I guess we probably need your input, Vim, in terms of how to hit as much of this as possible. We could start small and then iterate, and build on it. But yeah,
Yeah, for
all
sure.
right,
Yeah, it's very
cool.
good. Yeah.
cool.
Cool.
Okay.
So for a Google Cloud project, I don't know if I have privileges to add you, to give you the access, but
No.
we can team up. I have some access there, so we can team up and try to.
Yeah, I'll send this
directly.
on. This one here is quite good. Like I found this quite useful. This is obviously it's not exactly, you may not, you would, if you don't want to use Cloud Init, well, obviously, if we're using a pre-baked image, you probably don't need to use Cloud Init to set. This is just your man's preferred method of setting up the VM. But even if we did, you could do, this is obviously this is used CentOS, so I customized to use Ubuntu. But you could do, say, for instance, here I'm installing Docker. Um, so you could pre-install a lot of the stuff that we do in the Ansible scripts. I know it doesn't take a whole lot of time, but if we couldn't for whatever reason use a pre-baked image, you could
Yeah, but
pre-provision your VM here, as well.
but it all adds up. 2 minutes here, five
Yeah,
minutes there, and
exactly. And
in
it's, yeah,
in 9 tests you got half an hour or hour
yeah,
wasted, or maybe not wasted, but just we
waiting.
also unnecessarily repeat these steps, just burning the electricity
Yeah,
without any bigger need for it. So yeah, definitely the image, we can build it in using Google Build Service. There is I've sent you some time ago a link for
yeah,
integrating Packer
yeah,
with this flow, and it can be revealed like once a day. I think it's enough. Like how
yeah.
often you upgrade Docker or stuff like this, right?
Yeah, well, that's in terms of the versions. Like the Ansible versions have been fairly static. The only what's changed in this, I don't think much has changed here really at all, has it in quite a while. Even the cluster YAML, like, um,
Okay.
I don't think, yeah, I don't think much has changed in terms of versioning, other than the tag on the packages. You know,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
um,
So
but yeah,
yeah. So we will also have to think about the way of tracking the versions. So if we're rebuilding the image, it will be good to have some sort of keep some sort of track, like what were the versions. Let's say the base image gets Docker bumped and it doesn't work with something, right? So
yeah.
I guess um, we have to record it somehow, but it will be in
But I
in
guess
a
with your Packer,
flow.
I haven't used Packer, but with that, you could probably define a kind of static versions file, right? Couldn't you?
Yeah. Or
For
you
each.
can just do like a SBOM file on
Yeah,
the whole image,
yeah,
and you will have all the versions there, and plus you will have the SBOM for it. So
yeah.
that's a benefit. Yeah, that's cool. I like it a lot. Good job.
Cool.
All right, cool. We had one more point, I guess, from you, right? Okay, how to hide the many. Those inconsistencies between repos for LGTM.
I think I added that after a meeting
Oh.
last week. Apparently, there is certain repos. I don't know. We were going to discuss it here. That need two. I'm mainly active in Nefio, right? But there is some repos which doesn't seem to require two LGTMs to get the thing merged. Is that correct or wrong? Or that was the feedback I got last week, but I don't know. Was not in the release meeting, but in another meeting. So I was asked to put this bullet here.
Okay, I wasn't in this meeting, so I would have to see the examples of PRs in different. I don't really think that there is a much difference in the configuration of the plugin. Let me just check.
Because we have a lot of I'm assuming that each of these repos needs their own configuration, I guess, right? From Pro.
You can you can force a different configuration per repo, but generally it's like per organization. So for LGTM, there's a plugin LGTM, and it has its own configuration, the approve. And from what I can see, those repos they have required self-approval. So if you're a repo, owner or whatever, reviewer, you create the PR, it doesn't get automatically approved. And LGTM acts as approve is set to false to these repos. I don't see that there's anything else added there which changes the LGTM behavior. It might be affected by repo configuration itself, but I would have to have examples. I'm not aware that.
Okay, so next time when people raise this, I'll ask which repo it is about, and then unless someone on the call here knows.
Yeah. Just ping it on Slack to me. We'll investigate what's up. Maybe it's there were some changes in GitHub API itself, and it's getting crowd confused. Might be the case. So yeah, we'll definitely investigate.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So few things from me. First of all, I've been working on some dependency tracker to keep things up to date in our repositories. I've investigated a few solutions. Dependabot was the first one and most obvious because of the integration with GitHub. It has its downsides, but I've also looked through a few other solutions, and it actually might be the one that we're gonna use for at least for now. Problem is it doesn't support, even though the issue for it was reported like a year ago or something like this. Doesn't support any globbing, asterisk to recursively go through directories and so on. So this is a problem for multi package repos like Nefio, for example, where you have multiple Go mode files, multiple Docker files, and so on. So the only way actually is you cannot just put like a / asterisk / and it will find them themselves. So you have to basically hard code them in the path to every Go mode or the package JSON, whatever there's whatever software there lives. So anyways, the only way is actually to have this config file with full paths. So I've created a job to actually generate this config every time there is a PR submitted, and it will just go like this. Otherwise, it might be outdated. I've run it already on a Nefio fork I have in. Let me see if I can share this the other browser. So at this time I'm using 4 different browsers to have different things logged in and not to get confused. And all right, so that's the Nefio repository with, as you can see, 24 PRs open and 22 closed. I've just randomly merged few of them to see if it will still work. So those are just version bumps for multiple dependencies here. And what can you set up in Dependabot is how many PRs it will create each run. Because obviously, I don't want to flood the repos with like 50 open PRs, and probably it will be also hard to like review all of them. But the dependency tracker, first of all, it's a major key point in the OSSF scorecard. So that's one thing. But the other thing is like it's also a thing that's good to have. So I was thinking maybe to set the limit of PRs that are open to maybe like 5 and run it daily, or maybe like every 2 days. You can set it up like with cron syntax. So just people have time to review and merge those changes. And here comes another downside of this solution. So if you don't merge the PRs created by Dependabot for a month, it just stops working, which is, I mean, it's kind of logical. If you don't merge this stuff, why it should run it again and again. But it's also something worth remembering. So we should try to at least to all these PRs for dependencies to merge them in a month period.
Just
so
a question on that. I understand that you don't want to spam people with a load of PRs, but would there not be like if you turn this on now, there would be probably a burst of dependencies that need to be updated. But after that, it would quiet down, right? You wouldn't get you wouldn't get 20 versions of dependent passive, a night. You'd probably get 1 or 2 a day, or wouldn't that be the case? Or
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, how often? I don't think this changes very often. So over time, it will for sure it will be less. Yeah. But the first one after enabling it, I've just opened the floodgates fully just to see what will happen. It was like 44 on Nefio. I see that few of them like 4 days. So those 3 are new. On a port,
I guess on the initial one, you could probably do one locally. You could probably run a dependency tool locally and do one commit for somebody, couldn't you? You know what I mean? If you run, just update dependencies locally and then push that as one PR, and then turn the tool on.
It would be actually the best, I guess.
Now there are a few. Yeah, sorry, there are a few here.
Go for it.
If you go to 17.2 runtime, you have other dependency. So there is some which are big, but some are small. Yeah. So but if you go to 29.x, right, all of a sudden you have to do flow control. Becomes mandatory. So there are some of these things. But I think, by the way, I'm a fan of it, by the way. But there are some which are rather big impact, by the way, of some of these. For example, if you go to API machinery 29, you need to deal with flow control.
So there'll be code changes for that. Is that what you're saying?
And configuration changes on the packages and stuff like that. So there is some of these things are quite like the first 2 are nothing, right? But the The third and the fourth and the fifth, these are big potentially.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate
But
nature of it.
and if you don't do it, you get out of date and you have security vulnerabilities and all of that stuff. So this is an important activity.
Yeah, that's also the next point. So we will be doing 2.01 release probably sooner than later, and there are few security issues in our images which I'd like to fix in this patch release. Nothing major. We don't have anything critical there, but it just, you know, it's a bad optics to release with something that's, some of them are just easily fixable just by bumping the version of something in a base image. Just basically change the base image version, and that's it. But some, like you said here, it's
like going to control runtime 17 and API machinery 29 requires, actually it's better that one person takes care of that, is what I'm trying to say. And because you almost have to do them all together.
Yeah, so maybe it was I like the suggestion to run the dependencies too locally, that, you know, like somebody would just update everything in place and just try to push it as a one PR, at least at you know, for the first one. Otherwise it, with this many PRs, it might really be pain in the ass.
But a lot are related, Rado, right? So if you look, I mean, the first two are together, right? Then the next ones go into API machinery and runtime 17, they're all together, by the way. So they're kind of all the same. You see, it might look a lot, but there's a lot of similarities, you see?
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a problem to have this, because I think it's better to push them as a PR, because then it becomes very visible, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because if you just do an email, okay, so you need someone to act on the email, right? So I think, is it not better to have them as a PR? And
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Because otherwise an email gets lost, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's good point. Yeah. So,
but of course we need to act. But some of these, what I'm trying to say is that because I personally have dealt with this change to 17, that's why I know, right?
Yeah.
It is some of these are big, but also possible, right? But if we don't act, we will get an out of date system, which is also not good, right?
Yeah, we will drag as a technological debt to the next changes. Yeah, so yeah, that's the thing. I've already seen this in KPT Backstage plugins repository when there's a lot of changes, and they most of them require some code changes. So I've bumped every version that there is, hoping that, you know, it will somehow work, even though the yarn dependency tool was showing like, oh, they are compatible, but it created a huge mess, and I'm really not, you know, the JavaScript's not my thing. So that's why also I've reached to the guys here at Samsung to maybe help out with this subject. So it's still in the talks, but seems like we have some available people to help out with at least fixing the issues with, because the KPT Backstage plugins is actually one image that contains the most of security vulnerabilities there, mainly because of the outdated base image, because it's using the Node 16, and just to bump the Node version there, it would require some work. So as you were saying, some of changes will be trivial, but some of them will be for sure a lot of work. So coming back to my original question, then if we set a limit to 5, let's say 5 PRs, some of those might not actually showed up in the first round, right? So let's say those 4 pops up. So you might have like this thing split. I don't know how often it gets, let's say, this dependency reference in other places, but they are not connected, so you can just probably.
But normally what you see is that because we use a lot of Go mod files, right? So you will get from the moment you upgrade one, right?
Yeah.
If you look to all the other Go mod files, Go modules itself will actually highlight the other Go mod dependency. So it depends on how you do it and
it will cascade, yeah.
So it will highlight it. That doesn't mean you have to act, but so I did this during the R1 release. I was managing the dependencies between all of this. So it's a bit of quite a bit of work because of the fact that we split the repo in this multiple Go mod files, right? But on the other hand, it creates independence, right? So, but you actually in Go mod, depending on your IDE, I think but they give you the highlights of where all the changes are. So that's helpful in my view, at least for the Nephew repo. So it means what I'm trying to say is that I personally, Rado, I would say, why would we do a limit of 5? I would advocate just push all of them.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I don't know what other people think, but I don't see why we should limit to 5. Just push them all. The problem is, of course, so what you might see is that one fix might have a lot of the PRs, but you can link, you can do, right?
I mean, that's another problem with dependable. It's not really that smart when it comes to like multiple mods. Multiple mods. So it creates like a separate PR, and one between one and PR and the other one, there's not really a link or something to cascade them or something.
So you have to act upon them each individually.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate.
That's really bad because so that's the bad side because it means that you ideally want them all together. But what we could do, right? But we could probably refer one PR to the others and then close them all together, right? So or say they're all coming together somehow. Can we not link them somehow?
I mean, you can bulk close them.
Correct.
You
Something like that.
Select them and you can just go.
Okay, it's a bit of an annoyance, but it's also not the end of the day, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and over time it will be maybe like a 1 or 2 PRs every now and then, not 50 at once, right?
Yeah. Typically you get these bursts when there is like here API machinery, and these are our biggest dependencies that we have, or controller runtime. These are the biggest dependencies that we have. So every time Kubernetes does a change, we will have a cascading effect. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Which is okay.
Yeah. So that's one thing. I'd like to push this change out this week. So there's gonna be influx of PRs. Maybe let's try from some smaller repos before we jump to the Nephew, and just to get people familiar with the whole process and to see that from now on, from time to time, we'll have this blue badge of horror saying dependencies there. And
now from that point of view, okay, so if you come back to it, is there a way to push them on Slack or something like that? Because I mean, ideally, we have a single PR to say upgrade controller runtime to 17.x, right?
Yep.
And then on this repo, and then you put them all together, basically, right?
I'd
Or
have to look.
we push let dependabot do it, and then we close all the other PRs and then keep act upon one or something like that. That we can also do, right?
Yeah, if you close the PR, the dependabot will not mention this again. So
No,
you
correct.
can-
But but we only close it when the main PR, when one of them is acted or something like that, right? Because
right. So choose like the top level one,
yeah,
where all things are being managed, and then close the other ones, and they will not popped out in the next dependabot run.
correct. Yeah.
Yep.
Something like that. Yeah, makes it more manageable, I think, because otherwise, I think we have probably close to 15 to 20 Go mods, I'm assuming, in the
Yeah,
Nephew.
something like this. Yeah.
Yeah, so that means that you have to close it 20, whereas otherwise, typically you say, okay, I do an upgrade to controller runtime 17.2, right? Okay, you're acting upon that, but you're going through all the Go mods, update them, and then once you're done, you're basically submitting your PR and then say, okay, here is the update to go to controller runtime. I mean, that's what I would do. And then, which is okay, right?
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
otherwise,
yeah,
I mean,
yep.
if one goes to controller runtime 17 and the other one doesn't, you have kind of only done 1/15 or 1/20 of the job, basically, right?
Right. Yeah. All right.
Let's
so,
try it, and then we'll see if it works.
So that's
Akash.
yeah.
Akash has
Akash,
his hand.
go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, I do. Yeah. So it's just like I'm working on the Packer and the GitHub Actions. So I have working with me, like, so I have the Packer files to create the Nephew pre-built image, and I'm using GitHub Actions to build that image in the GCP.
Nice,
Cool.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
I've been advocating Packer for a while, so I think it's a really good thing that we are converging on this.
When you're good to show the code, just create PR against test infra.
Okay.
And we can just host it there and run it there. It would be a great improvement. So that's
Yeah. And actually, I have a little, like, some of the Terraform files have to get some of the infrastructure resources on the GCP, like, because for here I'm using for authentication against the GitHub Action, I'm using workload identity federation on GCP. So like it will just makes the like pool for federation and the service account required for GitHub Action to run the Packer scripts.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see if I have like access to create those. If not, we'll manage somehow. We'll find somebody.
Yeah. So what I'll do, I'll try to create the PR on the test infra and I'll push it and share it with you. So
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Cool.
yeah.
That's also good news today. Well, on a wave of good news, let's also do one bad. I have some sort of apologies. During the release, I forgot about the Nephew SDK repo. Was just omission on my side. It's corrected now. It's been released. It's tagged, but yeah, that's just human error. Sometimes
That happens, Rado. There's so much going on, so that's not a problem.
So that was one of the hiccups of the release. Other than that, I think it went quite smoothly. So we're heading in good direction, I guess. All right, so that's all from my side. We're running closely to the end of the meeting, so just questions or anyone wants to bring some other subjects or something.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, cool.
All right, cool. Yeah, that was really good meeting. A lot of interesting stuff going on there. Good to see. All right, cool. If
Thanks.
there's
Great.
there's
Thanks,
nothing
guys.
else, just enjoy the rest of your day, and see you guys next time.
All right. Thanks,
That's
guys.
it.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks all. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
That's good.